Buddhist scriptures, one hears of many nations or characters that do not exist in history books. Did the Buddha invent them? Or has this earth inherently undergone many cycles of destruction and rebirth? When we open the pages of ancient Buddhist scriptures, many people with a modern mindset must stop and ask a major question. In the sutras, the Buddha often spoke of incredibly magnificent nations, of universal monarchs who ruled over the 4 continents, or characters with lifespans extending tens of thousands of years. He described vast continents with radiant rivers, palaces built of the 7 treasures, and civilizations that modern humanity has never heard named. Comparing this with contemporary history, archaeology, or geology, we find absolutely no trace of those kingdoms or characters. From this absence of empirical evidence, a natural skepticism arises. Did the Buddha use rhetorical devices and parables to convey moral teachings, or to put it bluntly, did he invent non-existent worlds? Or, hidden behind the silence of the earth and this universe, has our world inherently undergone countless cycles of destruction and then rebirth? To resolve this macro-level question, we need to set aside the narrow lens of a single human lifetime, or even that of a civilization only a few thousand years old. Modern science positions the beginning of the universe with the Big Bang and measures the age of the Earth at approximately 4.5 billion years. The written history of humanity is even more modest, occupying only a fragile 1/1,000,000th of that chronological length. If we use a ruler of a few millennia to measure the infinity of space and time, our judgment will become extremely one-sided. Buddhism does not view time as a straight line moving from a starting point to an end, but perceives all things within an endless cycle. In the Samyutta Nikaya, the Buddha opened an overwhelmingly vast vision when he proclaimed that this samsara, or cycle of rebirth, is beginningless. He taught that a starting point cannot be discerned for beings hindered by ignorance and fettered by craving, who transmigrate and wander on. The concept of being beginningless, known as Anamatagga, means there is no starting point. It completely shatters the linear thinking of humans that everything must have an absolute origin. Precisely because there is no starting point, the universe is an eternal dance of life and death, of formation and dissolution. The nations and characters the Buddha mentioned in the Jataka tales or long sutras are not products of imagination, but memories belonging to previous cosmic cycles. Through the knowledge of past lives, which is a transcendent spiritual power that sees through immeasurable past lifetimes, he saw and recounted what actually took place on this globe, or on planetary systems that once existed and then vanished into the void. That disappearance and rebirth are detailed and systematized in Buddhist philosophy. The theory of the 3 realms in the Abhidharma explains the laws of the cosmos in great detail. This world inherently undergoes 4 stages, which are formation, persistence, destruction, and emptiness. This cycle repeats endlessly in each great aeon, or Maha-kalpa. Imagine a great aeon as a breath of the universe. When the universe breathes in, all things take shape and develop to their most brilliant peak during the stages of formation and persistence. That is when great civilizations appear, kings rule by the righteous law, and humans live in peace with infinite lifespans. But all conditioned things are impermanent. When merits are exhausted, morality declines, and the living environment begins to change, the universe enters the stage of destruction. Water will rise to submerge all things. Fire from countless suns will incinerate everything to the point that not a speck of dust remains. And cosmic storms will blow away all material structures, returning everything to the state of emptiness. That destruction is so thorough that no geological layer, no fossil, and no archaeological remnant can survive for the next cycle. Our modern archaeology is only digging into the crust of the current cycle, which is a cycle that is still in the stage of persistence but has begun to show signs of decline. Therefore, searching for traces of nations in the Buddhist scriptures using carbon scanners or geological drills is impossible. Those nations were ground into primordial energy from immeasurable aeons ago. So, if everything returns to the void, how does life begin again in a new cycle? The discourse on knowing the beginning provides a beautiful and deeply spiritual explanation of the origin of humanity. It states that there comes a time when after a very long period, this world is destroyed. When the world is reformed, beings from the heaven of ultimate light are reborn here. The heaven of ultimate light is a high celestial realm where beings exist in the form of pure light energy, unaffected by the great calamities that destroy the lower realms. When the earth is reborn, cools down, and forms the first layers of matter, these light beings descend to the world due to their karmic conditions. Initially, they have ethereal bodies, flying through space and radiating their own light. But because they taste the flavor of earthly matter, their bodies gradually become coarse and heavy. They lose their self-radiance and finally become bound to the cycle of birth and death in the mundane world. This process is the transition from spiritual energy to matter, explaining that humanity was not naturally born from rocks and soil, but has a noble origin before declining. The great characters with extraordinary powers described in the scriptures are the generations closer to that source of light, carrying within them qualities that modern humans have lost. The cycling of the universe is not an exclusive insight of Buddhism. If we look toward Taoist philosophy, another great Eastern school of thought, we see a strange resonance. Lao Tzu, the Eastern sage, understood the principle of cosmic movement through the concept of the Tao. In the Tao Te Ching, he wrote that returning is the motion of the Tao, and weakness is the application of the Tao. He taught that all things in the world are born from being, and being is born from non-being. This statement contains a profound implication. The Tao always moves in the direction of returning to the starting point. All things in the world are born from existence, but existence itself is born from the void. The void here is completely analogous to the stage of emptiness in the 4 great aeons of Buddhism. It is not a deathly emptiness, but an ocean of potential energy containing the seeds for subsequent cycles of existence. The earth is destroyed, returning to the invisible realm, so that from that invisibility, a new earth is again formed. The birth and death of nations and great figures in the past are merely successive waves on the surface of the ocean of the Tao. Chuang, the brilliant successor of Lao Tzu, pushed this thinking even further, challenging the boundaries of rational perception. He broke the concept of time and beginning with a passage in his writings, stating that there is a beginning, and there is a time before that beginning, and even a time before that. He explained that existence and non-existence revolve in this way. This philosophical passage may make the mind real, but it fits perfectly with the Buddhist concept of beginninglessness. When trying to trace the origin of the universe or verify the history of an ancient nation, humans are always stuck in the mindset of a single beginning. But Chuang Tzu affirmed that before that beginning, there were other beginnings stretching infinitely toward eternity. The worlds the Buddha spoke of do not lie within modern human history. They lie within those intervals of time before our current beginning. Every effort to use linear history to deny the stories in the scriptures reflects the naivety of reason before the infinity of the Tao. What is astonishing is that the concept of cosmic repetition is not limited to the spiritual realization of the East, but also resonated brilliantly in modern Western philosophy. Friedrich Nietzsche, one of the greatest and most fierce philosophers, proposed a doctrine that shocked Western thought. He declared that the universe and all events within it will repeat themselves infinitely in the same structure, with no absolute beginning or end. Nietzsche's doctrine of eternal recurrence is like a reflection of Samsara and the great aeons in Buddhism. If the universe possesses a finite amount of matter or energy, but time is infinite, then every arrangement, every event, and every individual must repeat exactly what has already occurred an infinite number of times. The earth has been destroyed countless times and has also been reborn countless times. The great monarchs, the capitals paved with gold, and the strange continents in the Buddhist sutras are not fiction. They are entities that once existed in previous loops of the universe. The earth once witnessed civilizations many times more brilliant than the present, but all followed the law of formation, persistence, destruction, and emptiness. They vanished completely, giving way to darkness, so that one day light would burst forth again, and history would begin a new loop under a different form. When placing all these perspectives side by side, from the boundless insight of the Buddha and the subtle wisdom of the Taoists to the sharp philosophical thinking of Nietzsche, we recognize a grand panoramic picture. The history in textbooks is only a tiny portion of a single drop of water in the ocean of beginningless and endless time. The Buddha did not approach his task with the mindset of a historical novelist. He was one standing on the peak of eternity, looking down at the clouds of birth and death drifting through the valley of space. He saw countless earths form and shatter, saw countless sentient beings go from the realm of light into the realm of darkness, and then yearn to return to the light. Therefore, the failure to find archaeological evidence of the nations in the Buddhist sutras does not prove that the Buddha invented them. It only proves that the storage capacity of this material world is finite. This earth is inherently a great crucible, constantly smashing what is old to cast new forms. Fire has burned, water has washed away, and wind has blown away all those ancient dynasties. The only trace left is not in the ground, but in the storehouse consciousness of the universe, which the Buddha accessed and translated for humanity into our language. A true student of Buddhism, therefore, does not read the scriptures as a chronicle to compare dates, but reads with the eyes of the soul to realize the impermanence of all phenomena. Whether it be a supremely magnificent kingdom of a past life, or a technologically advanced civilization of the current life, all will eventually face destruction according to inevitable laws. Realizing this is not meant to be pessimistic, but to break the attachment to the illusion of matter. When understanding that this earth has undergone countless destructions and rebirths, humans will lose their arrogance regarding temporary current achievements. They will expand their consciousness to harmonize with the vastness of the universe, and step by step purify their souls, hoping for the day of escape from the endless cycle of beginningless and endless great aeons. Searching for a nation not found in history is not chasing a mirage, but a journey of awakening before the incomprehensible greatness of the cosmos. Every word of the sutras is not a dreamy myth, but a whisper from a deep time, reminding us of our tiny position amidst infinite space and the eternal cycle of life and death. All doubts fall away when the mind is truly still to listen to the breath of a universe that constantly destroys itself to be reborn.